Some people panicking like little grills in the chat, but we're here. This is our third session in a row for you guys in case you missed it. You can look back on my channel on previous days. I think we covered a lot of cool content. Marc-Andre has been preparing like someone who knows what he's doing with poker, but I think you can learn a lot from that. Just by his questions from the first day, I think you see a lot on how people that know poker approach a different game, and I think just from that you can learn a lot. Also, yesterday we did a lot more in-depth strategy. I think a lot of PLO concepts we talked about. He sent me a few more hands, and I think that we have enough to talk about. Yesterday it took us like an hour and 10 minutes to talk about 6 hands, so we're gonna talk about for about another hour today. If you guys have any questions, just send them in the chat and we'll see if we get to them. So how's it been now? You've been playing for a few days. How are you liking it?
Yeah, good. I played some last night. Felt a lot more comfortable after spending those first sessions.
Mm-hmm.
I try to mark some hands where I was three betting or calling three bets. After yesterday morning when we got together, we kind of assumed that I was a little loose pre-flop in my opening, so I tried to tighten that up, and at the same time finding more hands that I could three bet in and out of position. So I marked some. Hopefully, I've been three betting the right hands and playing them decent post flop. But it definitely. I mean, all those sessions of every time is just there's more light bulbs that kind of click in my head, and we should be in the right direction. So after we do this session today, I'll be looking to play at least one tournament and try to get some tournament hands for tomorrow,
Yeah.
and get ready for the 1K high roller on Sunday.
Yeah. And guys, if you want to win a part of Mark's action, press or type the command PLO raffle in the channel. I'm sure the mods will do it also. He also wrote an article, and there's also if you type PLO promo, you will get a link to a forum. If you ask the best question or you give some of the best answers there, you also have a chance to win 5%. I see Moonlight Master is really quick on it. So yeah, of course we're on no delay. I always think about the 4-minute delay, but we're here live, so you get to follow along, and I think it's good for you guys to interact with it. I think this week has been a perfect shot to learn some PLO. I think yesterday Marc-Andre made some very logical mistakes switching from Hold'em, but I think he did some stuff intuitively very right as well. Like the thought process here and there definitely made sense. So let's see how that's going today. You see the hand I have open. I assume the king 9-4.
Yes, I was hoping we wouldn't start with this one, but go ahead.
You were hoping we started with a different one?
No, I was hoping we wouldn't start with this one.
Uh,
But it's
well,
all good. Go ahead.
Alright, cool. Okay, so again, just reiterate, it's not that big of a deal, but if you're under the gun, I would open pot, just because you have the strongest range there, and you kind of wanna press that already.
Okay.
Uh,
Even though I have more fold equity pre-flop, maybe I got mixed up yesterday when we were talking about, or I guess that was with the button, right? Where we decided that 3x was also fine from the button since
yeah,
guys were folding quite a bit in the blinds. But
yeah,
UTG, you would always pot,
exactly, yeah,
right?
yeah. Alright, so this is fine too. 3-bet, and this is like one of those spots where you see people just transition and think, "Oh, sick! I have kings." That's great. But this is actually a scenario. You're up against a really strong range. This is not ideal just for the watchers. Like this is a point where you're gonna play real defensive all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, I was very aware that my hand was not good enough to 4-bet get in. I assume there probably isn't too much 4-bet folding in PLO, right?
No,
Especially
definitely.
without at least one ace.
I mean, you could 4-bet fold some kings. Like if you have a guy that 3-bets pretty wide, but only 5-bets aces all in.
Yeah.
Then in certain spots you can 4-bet fold kings, because you know you can push your edge against some rundown, but then if they have aces, you just don't have the odds to call. But that doesn't happen a whole lot though. If I don't know, I think I much rather 4-bet rundowns against people who I feel are full of shit.
Yeah.
Because there's still a big part of their range is going to be aces, you know, and kings only have 30% against that, whereas something like 10-8-6-5 double suited has 44% against the aces.
10-8-6-5 double suited. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, can we ever make a point to just fold there?
In what, when we 4-bet kings, or when we what situation do you mean?
Meaning with the king, with the hand I have here, can we make a case for folding pre-flop?
No, because here you still have the odds to. You can still profitably play some boards. You have a suit, you have a straight draw in there. You know, you can definitely fold some kings to a 3-bet pre-flop, but I think this one still has enough equity to call.
Okay, cool.
All right, so you call. All right, flop reasonably strong. The only problem is that, you know, it's his range is all over this board too. So both of your ranges are all over this board.
Yeah.
Because, you know, these are the type of hands that would raise under the gun with 3-bet and under the gun opener. Alright, I'm curious too. You check. He bets.
There's and Stanko 111, although I don't know much about him, seems to be a regular
Alright.
of some sort. Do any of those guys ever bet fold aces, or would they just be tempted to check him back?
The problem,
bet folding anything on those boards, really?
well, if you have like ace 10, you could, you know, your backup could block something. If you have rainbow aces, if you have the ace of clubs, you could bet here. Just because you have some protection because you're all over this board, you know?
So with one ace of club, he would probably bet fold then.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think that, let's say, if you flat here, I don't think he's ever barreling a second time with an airball. So if you want to check raise to push somebody off a hand, you kind of get that cheaper option of check calling, then the turn goes check check, and then you can just easily bet the river and they'll fold, you know?
Yeah.
Because
so you think my equity versus most of the hands he's gonna get it well, or you think he's not check folding enough? He's not bet folding enough hands that are better than mine, and my equity versus his bet call is just not good enough.
I can't really think of a hand he's gonna bet fold here that's better than you.
Okay.
I think if Jack 8, for instance, stuff like that, is gonna bet fold, he's gonna have a gut shot with that one way or another, you know.
Yeah.
And with the flush draw, I don't really see any 2-pair. Yeah, 8-9, 8-9 would fold, I guess.
Would bet fold.
Yeah.
Could bet fold. Okay.
That's why I think you. Just that mechanic that I just talked about. If you check call here, you look so strong, which means he's gonna check a lot of turns behind, and then you pretty much you could even bet less than 20. You know what I mean? To take the pot.
With that sizing here.
Yeah.
So you're thinking, but I would still, even if I check raise to, let's say, so 2021, I still go with it once we get it in.
No, I wouldn't check. I don't mean with if you would check raise to 21. I mean if you check call here instead of check raising, you get to bet really small on the river and have a really believable 2-pair plus hand. You know.
Okay, cool.
But I understand your thought process that you want to make him fold some stuff, but yeah, I don't see him folding any better. So you're just kind of turning your hand into a bluff. Which is what
I felt like I was turning my hand into a bluff as well.
Yeah.
Against aces, or if he does bet some aces, my kings are clear. My one pair here is clearly no good, but I have flush draw to go with it. that I thought I couldn't be in too bad shape, but I definitely see the merit of check calling and get potentially get the option if it goes check on the river to bluff at it.
Yeah.
Somebody's saying in the chat that a clear lead or that leading could be an option.
I think you only do that when you have a range advantage, and you don't have that here. I think you guys are equal in ranges here, and he has position, so it's just the easiest call of his life, kind of, you know. He can just float you. He can just pretty much decide what to do against you. He's not gonna fold anything better than you, and all the hands that he would fold against your lead are all the hands that he's gonna fold to a river bet as well, you know.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it'd be a cheaper way to. I still should realize my equity
Yeah.
most of the time, and then it's a cheaper way to potentially win what's in there.
Exactly, because if you lead here, you get potted. You just have to fold, so you fold a lot of equity potentially.
Okay.
All right, so we'll just let the hand run out. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I hit a little something somewhere in there.
Yeah, I got there. Oh, nice, strong hand. All right, so we have the ace, queen, jack, 8, double suited from the big. We have an opener. Oh, nice, I like it.
Okay, so yeah, so after yesterday when we talked about me being a little passive, a little loose passive pre-flop, I was looking for some hands that I thought would be a good candidate to 3-bet.
Yeah.
And I thought this one could be.
Yeah. Like yesterday you showed us that hand with the ace, ace, jack, jack.
Right.
I mean, this is just a clear example of something that plays so massively post-flop. I mean, you can think of so many boards where you can just barrel or get it in, or, you know. Also, even if a board comes like 10 high and it goes check, check, then you pretty much have half the deck on the turn again that you can barrel. So this is a great hand to 3-bet out of position with. Even if all these guys called behind that dude, this is like a clear squeeze. It's just a really awesome spot.
So, somebody's saying that I should be running it twice. I guess I was just going to gamble there.
Hold'em Manager doesn't show running it twice anyway.
Oh, in Omaha you can't?
You can. Well, in the Hold'em Manager just doesn't show it, so it only shows the first run out.
Well, I wasn't running it twice anyways.
But nice. Well, we can appreciate that. But for the viewers, the thing with PLO, a lot of people today were asking about it. If you run it twice, it doesn't change your equity. You shouldn't think about it as I'm gonna run it twice because I have a draw or something. The only thing is it reduces variance. So if you think PLO is really swingy, if you think that's scary, put on run it twice. If you're over bankrolled for a game and all-ins or swings tilt your opponents harder than it does you, then run it once. You know, it's that simple. Alright, so nice flop. I don't mind potting here. Yeah, that's fine.
What would be the other sizing options?
Well, if you would go like 3/4, but then I'm thinking you don't really have a bluff c-betting range on this board that much. Either you have a semi-bluff or you have it.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, because it's just too likely to get called, right? Because this board, I mean, if he has like Jack 10 9 8 Queen, I don't know, Queen 10 Jack,
Yeah.
stuff like that could all call. I don't know, maybe though, because if the 7 was an 8, it would be even worse, because then Queen 10 has like a double gutter and stuff.
Okay.
But I don't know, you can go 80% as well. This is a little intimidating if he has like Ace X, you know?
Yeah. Well, meaning I may not be getting called as light.
Yeah.
Light potting. I guess also that a good is a strong point to make it 80% instead of putt would be that I'm only 100 big blind deep and I don't need to putt it to almost get all the money in on the turn.
Um,
Or
yeah,
by
it's
the
not.
river at least. Let's say if I was 200 big blind deep, would you be more inclined to putt?
No, I would be less inclined to pot because
Yeah.
then you're kind of just blowing a pot up where you could get in a really tough spot because the board development could really screw you. Because
Okay.
the deeper you are, the more often the pot is going to go to the river.
Right.
And I mean, there's still so many cards that could come off that completely destroy your hand. Even just an offsuit king here is terrible, you know, for your hand.
Yeah.
So I think that 100 big blinds deep is just kind of you kind of just want to keep his range a little bit weaker. I mean, if you pot here, what is he gonna do with Jack 7? Probably fold it.
Okay.
Because Jack 7 also, I mean, you know, what are the only good turns for Jack 7? I mean, even a 5 is scary for Jack 7 on the turn almost, you know?
Well, even a jack kind of sucks at this point.
Exactly. So you don't want to really push those hands out. So I understand though. I understand it looks really, the board looks really drawy and scary and stuff. So it feels like, and you could have a lot of semi bluffs. So it feels like it's a good one to pot. But I mean, I don't think it's bad by any mean. You know, just talking about different bet
Got you.
sizes.
Yeah, yeah. Talking about different options.
Yeah.
I think at the time I saw it as, well, most boards are very drawy and this one's no exception. I don't have any clubs, which makes it more likely that he has some. All the middling card, like all the 10, 9, 8, queen cards I wanted to get some value versus that. But okay, so let's say 80% pot.
Yeah.
If we go to the turn,
Yeah. Nice. I like this a lot. I'm happy that you don't slow it down because it's a straight card that comes off. I think what you're doing here, what you're doing really well is you're protecting your equity. And you're not making him realize his equity or drawing too cheaply to, you know,
right?
what he could be drawing to. I mean, it's also a gut shot that rolls off, so I wouldn't be too afraid of it. So
Well,
like,
he's gonna have some king 10, but then at that point there's 28 in there, and I only have 35 behind,
yeah,
36 behind.
yeah,
So I'm stacking off anyways, and thought I can just protect the 28 in there.
yeah. Plus, it's also like, I mean, it's pretty obvious what's happening now, right? If you bet this turn, you pretty much have what you have, right? And he just has to decide if he wants to draw against that or do whatever. But
Yeah.
you could have some king, queen of clubs and stuff still, but he probably has some of those cards, you know. So it's just kind of like this turn. If you bet it, you hit the board. So all jokes are out. I mean, it's kind of, your hand is a little bit face up, and that's no problem. Just make it as expensive as you can for him then.
Right. So then river rolls.
Huh.
I river the nuts.
Oh, he called too. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I really like your bet sizing. I like that you threw bet pre-flop. I like your bet sizing. I mean, the bet sizing on the flop is fine too. You know, there's no problem with it. There's just different options, and yeah, I'm happy that you just slammed the turn.
What do we think? And by the river, should he be folding ever there?
Not really,
He's
because he
blocking,
could.
probably not.
Yeah, there could still be some king X clubs. Maybe you go crazy with kings with clubs. You know.
Yeah.
For that $9, he should just always call, I think.
And what do you think of his call on the turn? Is it a little loose with a bad flush draw and just like, I guess, 2 gut shots?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I think his call on the turn is a little bit loose. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think he should fold the turn.
All right.
All right, good. Wow, what a nice hand. Raise under the gun. 3 bet. Ooh, I think I know what's coming. Oh, I thought that if this guy wasn't in, you might 4-bet this hand. Um,
Oh, yeah, okay.
Alright, so 3-way to the flop, which is fine. You have a really good hand for that. Check. Bet. Alright, now it gets interesting. Fold.
What do we do versus that bet?
Um,
So I'm never folding this pre-flop.
mm-hmm.
Queen Jack 10-8, double suited. When he bets half pot, am I the only one who sees infinite of backdoors here?
Yeah, I can get behind a call here sometimes if he bets less than half pot.
And I felt like, I don't know if people ever check raise those boards. I know in Hold'em we don't do a whole lot of check raisings on those boards. And I thought it was an example of what you were saying earlier, where instead of check raising a dry board where you could be just completely crushed, to actually, if you're still going to realize a lot of your equity when it goes check on the turn, and then you may get a shot at bluffing on the river for cheaper.
Yeah.
So that's what was going through my mind then.
Yeah, that's true. And also, you're right, raising this flop doesn't make any sense, because then you have such a narrow range, it's unplayable, and you can't balance it.
Well, I can only check raise aces, and even there it wouldn't make much sense.
Exactly.
Okay.
Alright, interesting. We check again, that's good. Alright, yeah, so... Yeah.
So that river...
I don't know about the pot sizing though, because if you have ace king here, you could value bet as well, right?
Right.
Would you bet pot though?
Of course not. Would I bet pot? I may not even bet pot with some of my 9x, which I guess 9x is a bigger part of my value range there.
Well, it is now because you go completely, you go full out polarized. I mean, if you, it looks so strong. I mean, if you bet like 18 here or something, you kind of accomplish the same.
Okay. So we're not, when I bet 18 there, we're not getting called by random ace-x that would have bet small on the flop.
It would have to be a really good ace.
See, I think what I was, what I had in mind at that point was that a pot size bet could actually get him to fold a lot of ace-x, while a half pot may not. He might just be too tempted. I don't know if that's correct and if that reflects what happens in those games, but with I have a lot of 9x, he doesn't, clearly, when he checks back.
Well, you're still, I would say that if you, a bigger part of your range, he would attribute a bigger part of your range to ace-9 than he would to 9x, even though ace-9 is less likely. It's just like, just a random 9x isn't gonna call a flop all that often.
Okay.
Because he could just have, 9x could just have reverse implied odds and shit like that.
Yeah, okay.
So I think that also a lot of ace king, ace queen, because the club draw comes off and you could still have ace x, they're gonna bet the turn really small again. Like, let's say they're gonna bet 13 on the turn,
Yeah.
So I think you're up against the weaker ace here a lot. And then, yeah, I think just the best value range bet would be reasonably small. This sometimes comes off to me as, oh shit, I want to win this pot, let's just go all out,
Well, yeah. That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's just that. If boards are like this and people do that, and I'm always what? And if somebody bets 18, it looks like disgusting value,
Yeah. All right, cool. So get to the river, or get to.
Wow.
I didn't see that I got completely owned. So I guess he was checking back to shove any river over me, but then when I potted it, he just, okay, well, that's nines or nothing, or ace-9, or, well, I guess ace-9 would have called.
I think it would be so much better with his hand too to just bet small on the turn, because you obviously have top or middle pair when you check all the flop most of the time. So I would say that he makes a lot more money from a lot more hands if he just bets $12 on the turn.
Because I have a 9 so often.
Yeah.
Well, as player, that
A6.
worked out pretty well for him, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, but still, I don't mind the play at all.
Yeah.
All right.
Guys in the chat asking like how can he just call there? Do you ever just call there?
Yeah, sometimes, but I feel like he played it so weak, you kind of just have to raise. I think he's kind of stealing himself a lot of money away from, let's say you have 9x or you have deuces or ace-9, you know?
Okay.
To just immediately, I would just go for a small raise and then see what happens, because I mean, you're not gonna bluff in that spot. You're not gonna shove ace-9, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know. I think he's kind of.
So you could. Can you make a point to click back fold?
Yes, for sure.
I mean,
in this position.
you'll pretty much never gonna be in that spot, but you'll never be put to a decision where you have to fold technically.
Yeah.
But when you do.
Yeah, yeah, you could. If I raise the river and they shove, then I'm very tempted to fold there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All this because I wanted to go runner. Yeah. Like, all this because of my infinite backdoors.
Yeah. All right.
All right, next hand.
Good. That's a good hand to 3-bet with.
Yes.
Good. That's also against a shorter stack. You know, this hand has a lot of hot and cold equity. It does well in all-in situations. You get some. If you flop top pair, you can always just pot pretty much. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, this is just fine. I guess you also wanted to show if this was a good 3-bet hand.
Well, yeah, I wanted to show off I could recognize a 3-bet hand when I saw one.
Good job. Wow. Yeah, I was playing some PLO 2 today. The lower stakes are so soft. Because I feel like
and just an under. Oh, he had top pair, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, top pair.
How can you go wrong with top pair?
2-pair draw.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, that's good. That's a good hand. Yeah, that's fine. That's definitely fine. This hand plays really well in position as 3-bet because you have so much playability. You can bet a lot of boards. You can call a lot of check raises usually. So it's a good 3-bet. Nice. All right, good.
Well, again, I'm against a short stack. Oh yeah, and then I get call for.
Yeah.
Is this a hand I can peel a call for 20% stack, 25% stack bet with?
Yeah, easily.
Okay.
Pretty much anything double suited. Because if somebody called 4-bets, or especially if somebody just 4-bets after raising and you 3-bet them, you pretty much always have 2-1, and with any double suited hand you have 30% against another. So.
Right.
That's why you can just, with double suited hands, you can always peel the 4-bet. Ooh. Alright. It's good. I like it. Especially after 2 checks. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I just figured there can be too many hands well, I don't know if value checking is such a thing, but where he will be checking twice and be able to call down twice.
Yeah.
So, and that board just hits me pretty hard, and I assume I have a lot of outs versus his aces, if that's what he can have.
Yeah.
So I'm betting turn there. Would I be betting any 8, any 6, any 5, any jack? Well, jack I would probably just check back my 2 pairs. But any for value, would I be betting any queen?
For value here, I would probably still not bet anything. You mean
No, well, by the river. So I'm bluffing, semi-bluffing on the turn there. on the river, I would follow through with some bluffs on any 6.
If he
5.
check calls this turn, then I would be very scared.
Because you don't think he's ever check calling with one pair, right?
Yeah. So I think if he's check calling, he either has like top 2, something like that, but a big part of his range would be straights.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I would be very careful. He could still have some flushes too.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just that's why I like that you use a little bit bigger sizing. Because sometimes on scary boards you can go really small, you know, if the board doesn't correlate to somebody's range. But
Yeah.
I like that you use a little bit bigger because it's just kind of a single bullet.
So the bigger sizing makes it where I don't have to bluff too many rivers. While if I would have bet, let's say 9 or 11, for that bet to be good, I would have to continue on a lot of rivers.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Exactly that.
Well, he folded.
Yeah. Alright, this is good defend.
Which hand we on?
King Jack 6-8 from the big blind.
Jack 6-8.
Alright, so you check the flop. It's good. He bets. You could check call, you could check raise. You have the jack blocker. Your straight draw isn't that great, but it's still, you have blockers on both sides. They're kind of soft blockers, you know. But I don't mind.
I felt like for him to be able to bet there for value, he has hands that are just like crushing me and are not likely to fold to a check raise, including sets 5-6, Jack 10. So even though I have a jack, and the hands that he's betting as bluffs or semi bluffs will have a hard time continuing on some turn, I thought, and then I would be able to either realize equity or take it down later.
There could be, but there's still, you could be very weak calling here, like 7-6x or, you know, stuff like that, the hand you have, or some 10-9. If he has certain blockers, then he might go for it. If he turns a flush draw, if he turns like a 2-pair kind of hand, you know.
Yeah.
It's just kind of hard. Also, if you check on this board, and or if you call on this board and you check turn, then the river might be something where he can easily hero you if a pair rolls off, you know, and he has trips, shit like that.
Okay.
So I mean, board development doesn't have to be in your favor here. But I don't mind check calling because I think I mix it up too. If I check raise here, I'm pretty much doing only one. I just want to have some check raises, complete air balls, and this would be a good hand for it.
Okay.
But the plan of just check calling and betting river.
Somebody's asking if we can ever donk there.
Sure, but you could.
Okay.
You could as well. I just feel like, you know, I
Grand
mean,
scheme of things, I'm probably not considered to have a range advantage.
exactly, and he could call with a lot of hands. And do you really want to start double, triple barreling on this? You know, you kind of get the info to take it away from him from his check behind on the turn or whatever. You know, like you said. I mean, playing out of position on a board like this and just starting to barrel is really dangerous. It's
Okay.
If he can call with, like, even if he has like 9-7 or something, he can call twice easily, you know. And then are you really gonna put the third barrel in? Most of the time you're just gonna check, and he checks behind, and you think, God, could have bet or.
Yeah. All right. So the turn goes
Check.
check, and then on this river.
Yeah, that's good sizing. I think you need to go big, for sure. I think you can discount 2 pairs from his range, like top 2 or top and middle, stuff like that, because he checks the queen.
Okay.
So yeah, I think you just need to bet big.
Okay. And what do you think of his play?
I would. There's some situations definitely where you can check this kind of stuff behind, but I think if you have the straight there with the flush draw rolling off and stuff, I think you're gonna get called also by so many hands that you should just get value on the turn. So I really hate his check on the turn.
Okay.
Yeah. It's surprising though, sometimes you'll see people show up with hands because they just play too scared, you know, because he's not slow playing, he's not inducing, he's just scared that his hand is vulnerable. Yeah. Oh, well, I like your sizing, I like the way you played this. I think that's good. I think this is a good way also to play in tournaments. Because you're gonna study that a bit anyway, because it's a very low cost stab at a pot, you know, this line. It's very low cost bluff. Alright. 10, 9, 8, 7. Under the gun +1.
Yeah.
Alright, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, so can we 3-bet this hand?
Yeah, you can, especially when you're deep, you can 3-bet a lot of hands. Against under gun it's a little bit tricky, but I don't think, for instance, even if he has aces, if he 4-bets here, you know, he's in a tough spot. He can make it like 16.5 or something, or let's see, how much can he make it with aces? He can make it 18. No, it's 75. All right, so you can make it 17.25 here with aces. And then you call, and you're still more than 100 big blinds deep. So he has a really tough spot 4-betting here. So that's why you can get away with a lot of 3-bets in this spot.
Yeah.
Alright, cold call. It's always too bad when somebody cold calls behind you. Alright.
And this is how, I mean, I recognize by now house advantage being the guy who, well, he is a reg since he's one of the only ones I have hands on. And he's also, I mean, what we saw from him so far is that he was playing somewhat solid.
Alright. It is the guy on the button, you mean, right?
The guy on the button, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
House _ advantage.
Yeah. Alright, that's a good flop.
Okay, I decided to, remember we talked about like certain flops that our entire range was doing poorly on. When we're 3-way here, I decided to check, and probably, though we're pretty deep, I would probably check raise versus house advantage. Or would just check call be better?
I think check call would be better, but I really like your plan to add this hand to kind of make your checking range stronger. Because a lot of times when you check here, you're just going to give up with aces or kings or shit like that, you know?
Right, and in this case, I finally have a hand that actually can sustain some pressure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So you could at least call twice here on a non-diamond, on any non-diamond, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I really like this play. And once you both check, this guy is going to think, holy shit, on the button. The under the gun guy is going to have some high cards. This guy has aces or something. I'm just going to take the spot. And I think it's really cool. You even get to bluff some diamonds. If the board runs out poorly, if the turn is like a queen but it's a diamond,
yeah,
you still get to rep, because a lot of overpairs with diamonds would check this board as well.
Check call, and would check call there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I really like that you check this.
So how do I play? Check the round,
Yeah,
bet on turn. Do you like betting the turn there? Or is my hand too weak?
No, I think you can bet the turn.
Okay.
I think if the guy on the button was gonna do something, he would have on the flop, and I think that the guy under the gun checking twice just means that you can do some value, aka protection or whatever.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Tyler,
candidate 3-bet pre, right?
yeah, Tyler, if you would have if you had diamonds here, you can it's almost easier even to check call this flop, because they were going to be low diamonds, so they're bluff catchers as well. But you can just bluff catch on a lot more boards, so then it would be even better hand to check call with. Alright, so good. So the guy in position folds, that's always nice. And now we hope that this guy doesn't pot. Nice. Alright, good. So I think you played this really well. I think you're understanding your position here, the game flow of the other two stacks. It's good.
Yes. Which one's next?
Jack, 10, 6. These are a lot of hands people ask me about, is how you play queens and jacks, and I had a lot of questions about that on stream today, and I just would like to reiterate that like the shittier your pair, the more important your backup is. So jacks is a really bad pair in PLO, so you do need a suit, some connected stuff in there. The 6 is really bad in this hand, but since he's on the button, it's fine. But
does the 10 of spade makes up for it some?
yeah, it's okay. The fact that they're connected, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I guess you can call. I mean, you can call a lot in position, especially on the button, because I would almost much rather call this hand against the hijack than against the cutoff, because there's some boards that are more obviously missing the hijack, like the lower type boards that you could bluff with, and they don't necessarily have to miss the cutoff. So I feel like you have some more boards to bluff against an early position opener. I mean, this is just for people. This is by no means a strong hand. Like, this is really just you call this in position.
It's a very marginal call, even on the button.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty marginal call. The hand is, if you get 3 bets, you have to fold. If you get squeezed from the blinds, it has very low playability post flop. That's because of the low playability. You know, I would rather, I like it better to do it against an early position open, because then you have more bluff possibilities. But this is a pretty weak hand. But I have to say, if I don't respect the table, I call these type of hands from the button as well.
Okay. Well, I figured I had too many. I figured there's going to be some bad pre-flop. There some bad hands in there, because yesterday I was still playing some 36-24, and then 3-bet went up to 8. So there's got to be some garbage in there at some point.
Yeah, that's not bad. You know, garbage doesn't have to be bad. All right.
So
he checks. And you bet. That's good. He calls.
No need to pot it.
Here I usually just think people have like king 9 or something. You know, stuff hands like that. Queen 8 could check call. Queen 10-8, stuff like that. Just stuff with gut shots and single pairs or shitty 2 pairs.
Some aces, some kings.
Yeah, ace king, ace king, stuff like that.
Let's say some king 10 with a pair. King queen 10 X or some.
If you have king queen 10, I think you can bet twice. So I would rather add that hand to my betting range.
Okay.
Just because it's just pretty strong. It draws to the nuts. You can try and make like jack 8, queen 8, stuff like that fold when you have reasonable equity too. Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so
I decided to check back the turn when the ace of heart peels.
I think that you're making him realize his equity too much now.
Okay.
I think that if you bet the turn, you're gonna get still called by any 2 pair hands that are like ace jack, queen jack, ace queen.
Okay.
You'll get called by some even single, you know, or like ace king might still call you. There's hands with flush draws that could call you. So I think that you still get called by a lot worse too.
Okay, so I'm better off betting turn and checking back a lot of rivers than check back turn and letting him realize equity. Okay.
Because if you bet really strong here, I mean, even aces can't really comfortably check raise that often, you know.
Right.
Aces are kind of bluff catching, so.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not exposing myself to too much check raising.
Yeah.
It was just a matter. I almost felt like versus a check calling range, I was beat a decent amount of the time where I could check back and bet some safe river if checks again.
Yeah.
Though at that point I would expose myself to check raises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see. Okay.
Also,
So
because you cap your range, right? If you bless you. You also cap your range if you check this specific board behind.
okay.
So that makes you more vulnerable on the river.
Okay. So river.
I think now you just have to check, because I think that a lot of the flush draws barrel this turn as well. So I don't think you have a whole lot of flush draws in your range, meaning that you're gonna get attacked a lot if you bet this.
And for that sizing, so you think I'm just asking to get check raise bluff there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Alright, yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
this is exactly the kind of hand you want him to have, you know?
Yeah. And what do you think of his open pre? That's good with the 4?
No, I think it's terrible.
Okay.
It's like, I don't know if you have a color for stuff worse than fun player, but then I would give him that probably.
Alright.
It's just, the 4 doesn't do anything for your hand. You know, because on 7-6-5 you have the nuts with 9-8 anyway, so the 4 is a complete random card. It's suited to a 9, and there's gaps all over it. You're in the hijack. It's just, I would say if you open these hands, not always, but occasionally, these type structure hands, and then add in, you know, different type structured hands that are as weak as this one, I think it's impossible to win at PLO.
Okay.
Like impossible. Hey, thanks for those, Katrina. Yeah. Is there any stuff like that you feel like? Because I think one of the things that you really think about well is how do I get to the river and what are my options there. Even though it didn't work out in this one, you think about it, you know, and I think you did that with the Jack 8-6 hand earlier too, and you did that on the Ace-9 deuce board as well. Is there any stuff where you feel like I'm completely clueless, or this is where I'm really hurting?
I think I'm evaluating my options a street in advance fairly well, but the options that I'm contemplating are, I don't have like all the knowledge of the exact equity and the exact ranges. So I think understanding what I have and what the board is and what I could possibly do, but I still missing some experience of understanding what the other guys may be in there with, and what my best course of action is versus what they're gonna have. I assume it comes with experience and just keep thinking about it.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I was just happy yesterday when after our sessions, I just wanted to get in there and 3-bet some. I tighten up a little bit pre-flop, 3-bet some hands, and get a little more experience playing post-flop.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to because I'm going to be playing the tournament on Sunday. I'm very curious now to how that translates into a 20 big blind, 30 big blind game.
Yeah.
So I'll be playing some of that this afternoon and come back with some hands. Are we seeing each other tomorrow?
No, we might touch up on
right?
we might touch up on the weekend, but tomorrow you have coaching with Adrian.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
She's gonna try and convince you that Omaha high-low is the
Omaha 8 is better, huh?
yeah, that's the best form of Omaha. She's gonna try and convince you.
Yeah, I know she's pretty adamant about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of beauty to that game for sure, and she seems like the right person to try and show you. So
Yeah.
I mean, best of luck tomorrow, and I mean, even if we don't record it, let's touch up on some tournament strategy as well, so that you're ready for Sunday.
Sounds good. I'll try to pull some hands. I may send you a few also.
All right, sounds good, man. Good luck.
Cool. Thanks, Lex.
All right.
See you guys.
See ya.